The sound ripped through the driveway like a blade. Screech! My heart plummeted as I spun around just in time to see my younger sister, Megan, scrape the side of my brand new black SUV against the garage wall. A long silver scar stretched across the paint, glaring at me in the sunlight like a wound. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us, what would you do in this situation? Be honest. Tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. Megan, I shouted, rushing forward, my pulse racing. What did you just do? She climbed out of the driver's seat with a smirk, brushing her blonde hair back as if she'd done nothing wrong. Relax, Claire. It still works. It's not like I totaled it. Her voice dripped with mockery, as though years of my sacrifice, saving, and hustling meant nothing. My throat tightened. That's not the point. You don't just... Before I could finish, my mom stepped out of the kitchen door, arms crossed, lips curved in a familiar, dismissive smile. Oh, stop it, Claire, Mom said, chuckling under her breath. She didn't mean to. Don't blow this out of proportion. The words landed like daggers. My SUV wasn't just a car. It was the symbol of everything I'd worked for. Every late shift, every skipped meal, every night I told myself that one day I'd have something of my own. That vehicle was my pride, my proof that I wasn't the failure they painted me to be. But in this family, Megan could do no wrong, and my victories were always minimized. Megan smirked wider, tossing her keys into her hand. Seriously, Claire, don't cry. Nobody cares about scratches. Nobody cared. That was the cruel truth echoing in my head. My nails dug into my palms as I fought the tears burning in my eyes. My chest ached with unspoken words, the kind I'd learned to swallow since childhood. And then, the front door creaked open. Ethan, my husband, stepped in, his tall frame commanding the space instantly. His eyes locked on me first, noticing the tears I tried to blink away, then flicked to the SUV in the driveway. His jaw set like stone. What happened? His voice was low but sharp, the kind of tone that made everyone freeze. Megan snorted. It's just a scratch. No big deal. Mom chuckled again, waving her hand. Exactly. Claire is overreacting as usual. Megan didn't mean to. But Ethan didn't smile. He didn't shrug. He turned slowly, his gaze slicing through their arrogance like a knife. Then I guess, he said, voice calm yet heavy enough to silence the air. It's time to explain whose car that really was. The room went still. Megan's smirk faltered. Mom's confidence cracked. My heart hammered in my chest, because the truth Ethan was about to reveal would shatter every illusion they held about me. The silence that followed Ethan's words was deafening. Even the ticking clock on the wall seemed louder, each second slicing through the tension. Megan forced a laugh, flipping her hair. What's that supposed to mean? It's Claire's car, isn't it? She probably saved her waitress tips for years to buy it. Her voice dripped with cruelty, each word meant to cut me down. My fists clenched, but Ethan stepped closer, his gaze fixed on her. You think you're entitled to treat it like a toy because you assume it's Claire's? You're wrong. Mom frowned, confusion flashing across her face. Ethan, don't be ridiculous. She worked 2 jobs for that car, didn't she? We all know it's hers. Ethan's lips curved into the faintest smile, but it wasn't amusement, it was steel. No, Karen. That SUV isn't Claire's, it's mine. Megan blinked, caught, off guard. Yours? Then why let her drive it? Because I wanted her to have it, Ethan replied, his voice calm but firm. Because she deserves more than she's ever been given in this family. That SUV was a gift, a statement, and you treated it like garbage. My throat tightened. I'd known Ethan bought the SUV in my name, But hearing him defend me with such force, in front of the people who never valued me, sent a tremor through my chest. Mom's smirk faltered, replaced by irritation. "Oh, come on, Ethan. It's not that deep. Megan made a mistake. Don't turn this into a morality lecture." But Ethan didn't budge. He stepped closer to the two of them, his presence almost suffocating in the room. "It is that deep. You laugh when Claire's hurt. You minimize her struggles. You've turned every achievement of hers into a punchline. But you're quick to excuse Megan's carelessness no matter how much damage she causes." Megan scoffed, trying to regain her footing. "You're acting like I crashed it into a pole. It's a scratch. Get over it." Ethan's eyes hardened. "That's the problem. You think everything can be brushed aside. But let me make this clear. You didn't just scratch a car. You disrespected what Claire has worked for, what she's endured. And you disrespected me by treating my gift to her like it meant nothing." The words slammed into the room like thunder. Megan looked away, her arrogance cracking. Mom's jaw tightened, as if she couldn't find the right excuse fast. "Enough?" I stood frozen, my chest burning with a mix of vindication and grief. For once, someone was saying out loud everything I'd kept buried, every injustice, every dismissal, every time I'd been made to feel small in my own family. "You're overreacting," Mom muttered, her voice weaker now. "No," Ethan said, sharply. "I'm finally reacting, because Claire has stayed quiet too long, and it's time this family understood that silence doesn't mean weakness." My breath hitched. Tears pricked my eyes, but this time they weren't from humiliation. They were from the power of finally being seen. Megan shifted uncomfortably, her bravado gone. "So what? You want me to apologize?" she muttered. Ethan's voice dropped low. "No, I don't want forced words. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. If this SUV isn't respected, then neither of you will ever step near it again. And if you can't treat Claire with the respect she deserves, then don't expect to be welcome in our lives moving forward." The room fell silent again, but this time it wasn't confusion. It was fear. Mom's face tightened, her pride battling with the reality of Ethan's words. Megan stayed quiet, for once unable to come up with a snide remark. And me. I stood there, my hands trembling. But for the first time, I didn't feel powerless. For the first time, I felt like maybe this was the beginning of something different. The weight of Ethan's words hung heavy in the air. My sister's smirk had vanished, and even Mom looked unsettled, her arms still folded but not as steady as before. For once, they weren't laughing at me. They were cornered. I swallowed hard, my pulse hammering in my ears. I'd spent years biting my tongue, letting insults slide, letting humiliation roll off me. But Ethan's defense lit something inside me, a fire that refused to be smothered anymore. I stepped forward. "You know, what?" My voice trembled at first, but then it grew stronger. "I've stayed quiet because I thought silence kept the peace. But peace doesn't exist when only one person is expected to sacrifice for it." Mom blinked, surprised by my tone. Megan rolled her eyes, but the flush in her cheeks betrayed her. "All my life," I continued, "you've belittled everything I've done. Every job, every milestone, every moment I was proud of. You laughed. You acted like I was lucky to exist in your shadow. But today, I realized something." I took a shaky breath. "The only reason you laugh is because deep down you're terrified. Terrified that maybe I'm stronger than you ever wanted me to be." "Don't start with the dramatics, Claire," Mom snapped, her voice sharp but cracking at the edges. "This isn't drama," I shot back louder this time. "This is truth. Megan, you think scratching my SUV is nothing, but it's not about the car. It's about the years of disrespect, the years of taking and never giving back. And Mom, every time you excuse her, you tell me I don't matter." "Well, I do." I matter more than you'll ever admit." Megan's lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time, she looked small, like the arrogance she wore had slipped right off her shoulders. Ethan placed his hand lightly on my back, grounding me, but he didn't interrupt. His silence was his support. I turned my gaze directly on my mom. "You always said family comes first, but you never treated me like family. You treated me like an afterthought, the one who was supposed to endure everything quietly. That ends today." The room went still. My words echoed like a verdict. Mom opened her mouth, searching for control. "You're being ungrateful, Claire. We've given you everything." "Everything?" I cut her off, my voice rising with years of bottled pain. "What exactly did you give me? Constant comparison to Megan? Being told I wasn't good enough no matter how hard I worked? You didn't give me love. You gave me lessons in survival. And now I've survived long enough to finally stand here and say, I don't need your approval anymore." The fire in sea. My chest spread to my throat, my words sharper than I'd ever dared before. Megan muttered, "You're just overreacting." I snapped my gaze to her. "No, Megan, I'm done underreacting. You've coasted on excuses, on being the golden child, but one day excuses won't cover you. You'll realize life isn't about who laughs the loudest. It's about who stands the tallest when no one else will." Ethan's voice finally joined mine, steady and final. "Claire has given this family more grace than you deserve. But she's not going to carry your disrespect anymore. From this moment forward, things change. Either you learn to respect her, or you lose her." The silence afterward wasn't just heavy, it was suffocating. Mom's jaw worked, but no words came out. Megan's eyes darted toward the scratched SUV, then back at me, as though she realized for the first time that her actions had real consequences. And me? For the first time in my life, I wasn't the quiet one in the corner. I wasn't the girl, holding back tears. I was the woman who had finally spoken, finally fought, finally claimed her worth, and I wasn't going back. The air was thick enough to choke on. My mother's face had gone pale, her lips pressed tight, while Megan's bravado had crumbled into silence. For once, I wasn't the one standing small in their presence. I drew in a slow breath, steadying myself. Ethan's right. Things change now. I've spent years letting your words cut me down, but not anymore. I've built a life outside this house, one that you never cared to see, and from this day forward, I won't let you trample over it." Ethan's hand squeezed mine firmly, and that small gesture gave me the strength to continue. Mom scoffed, but the crack in her voice betrayed her. "So what, Claire? You're just going to cut us off? Over a car?" I shook my head. This was never about the car. It's about respect. It's about dignity. You could have asked me how much that SUV meant to me. You could have apologized. But instead you laughed. You always laugh when it comes to me. Well, the laughter ends here. Megan's voice finally broke the silence, smaller than I'd ever heard it. "So, what do you want? Do you want me to beg? To say sorry?" I turned to her, my tone firm but calm. "I don't want words, Megan. I want growth. I want you to realize that carelessness isn't cute, that taking people for granted has consequences, and that I'm not your punching bag anymore." Her eyes flickered, guilt flashing briefly before she looked away. Ethan stepped in, his voice sharp but even. "Here's the bottom line. Claire deserves more than excuses. If you can't offer her real respect, then stay out of her life. Because we're done entertaining people who only show up to tear her down." The statement hit like a hammer. Mom flinched, her pride visibly crumbling. Megan sank back into the couch, staring at the floor. For a long moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the distant hum of the refrigerator and the faint rustle of the trees outside. It felt like the house itself was holding its breath. I finally exhaled and said the words I'd been too afraid to speak my whole life. You don't get to decide my worth anymore. I do. And I refuse to spend another day being treated as less. The relief that surged through me was indescribable. It wasn't just about defending my car or even my dignity. It was about reclaiming every piece of myself they had tried to strip away. Mom shifted, her voice quieter now. Claire, you're being harsh. I shook my head. No, Mom. I'm being honest. Something you never allowed me to be without ridicule. Ethan wrapped an arm around my shoulders, pulling me close. His steady presence reminded me I wasn't alone in this fight. Not anymore. I looked at Megan one last time. You think everything's a joke until reality smacks you in the face. Maybe this will be your wake-up call. But whether you change or not, I'm done sacrificing myself just so you can feel better. Her lips parted as if to reply, but no words came out. I turned toward the door, my chest rising with a strength I hadn't known before. Ethan followed, his hand warm against mine. As we stepped outside, the scratch on the SUV caught my eye again, the scar gleaming in the sunlight. But for once, it didn't make me feel powerless. Instead, it felt symbolic, like the mark of a battle fought and won. The SUV still stood, strong and unbroken, just like me. I slid into the driver's seat, the leather hugging me like armor. Ethan climbed in beside me, and for the first time in years, I drove away from my mother's house without the weight of their voices dragging me down. Because now, they knew, and I would never let them forget.